The top U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement official said that he will continue to allow ICE agents to wear masks during immigration raids, a controversial practice that has drawn scrutiny amid the Trump administration's deportation push. In an interview that aired on CBS's Face the Nation on Sunday, Todd M. Lyons, the acting director of ICE, said that although he was not a proponent of mask use, if ICE agents use them to keep themselves and their families safe, then I will allow it. He pushed back on the interviewer's question about whether agents should identify themselves and on the potential for imposters to use masks to pose as agents, saying ICE agents can be identified by markings on their clothing. In March, video of tough student Rumeysa Ozturk being detained on a sidewalk by a group of plainclothes officers, some of them masked, went viral. Since then, numerous videos showing aggressive immigration tactics have emerged, prompting state and federal lawmakers to push for legislation to ban the use of masks and require agents to show identification. On Sunday, Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass, D., voiced her objections to the practice in a television interview, saying, "These masked men pull up in unmarked cars and jump out of the cars with rifles and detain people. So, for the average citizen, it looks like it's a violent kidnapping." Protests in Los Angeles over the immigration raids prompted the unprecedented deployment of thousands of National Guard troops and Marines to the city in June. There is no constitutional protection or prohibition for immigration officers' wearing of masks or face coverings, the Washington Post has reported previously. Even so, it is not a standard law enforcement practice, in part because it can foster intimidation and fear. President Donald Trump's massive tax and immigration bill, signed into law this month, will provide billions for his immigration agenda, including $45 billion for more detention facilities. It provides ICE with funds to hire 10,000 new agents on top of its current 20,000 to help with Trump's goal of 1 million deportations a year, according to the DHS. A CNN poll published Sunday found that a majority of Americans oppose the intensifying deportation efforts, with 55% saying the president has gone too far, up 10 points from February. The opposition to Trump's mass deportations is driven by Democrats and independents, with just 15% of Republican-aligned adults responding that the administration's efforts have gone too far. The Trump administration has accused Democrats of fueling attacks against ICE agents by questioning their tactics, including the use of masks. At least 79 ICE officers have been attacked since Trump took office, compared to 10 over the same period in 2024, according to the Department of Homeland Security. The agency, however, declined to provide a detailed breakdown of the alleged incidents, including how many of them have led to criminal charges. Immigration raids by masked federal agents have helped create a reign of terror in Los Angeles, Mayor Karen Bass said in an interview aired Sunday on ABC. Fear of arrest and deportation has prompted many of Southern California's immigrants, no matter their legal status, to hunker down in their homes, missing work, foregoing church services and skipping milestones like children's graduations, and Miss Bass said the practice some immigration and customs enforcement agents have adopted of obscuring their faces with black masks makes a menacing encounter even more frightening. These masked men pull up in unmarked cars and jump out of the cars with rifles and detain people, Ms. Bass said in a separate interview on Sunday on CBS. For the average citizen, it looks like it's a violent kidnapping. You should never have that. Earlier this month, 14 Democratic senators said in a letter to Todd Lyons, the acting director of ICE, that agents grabbing people off the street while masked and in plain clothes represents a clear attempt to compound the fear and chaos of immigration raids and avoid accountability for agents' actions. Mr. Lyons said in an interview Sunday on CBS that he did not encourage agents to use masks, but would continue to let them wear them in the field if that's a tool they need to keep them and their families safe. Federal officials say the face coverings help protect ICE agents from being doxxed or having personal details like a home address or contact information shared online. Mr. Lyons also said that federal law enforcement agents can be identified by markings on their clothes. The Department of Homeland Security, the parent federal agency of ICE, has said that its agents are facing a sharp uptick in attacks and threats, including an 830% increase in assaults compared with last year. Mr. Lyons said that the Trump administration's aggressive approach to immigration enforcement has meant that ICE agents are more visible and more often in contact with members of the public. But he also blamed elected officials for the increase in attacks, saying they were shaming, if you will, or speaking out against ICE. Ms. Bass expressed skepticism about the threat of violence ICE says its agents face. "I don't know, but I have a hard time believing that the woman selling pineapples on the corner will attack an ICE agent," she said. Earlier this month, Ms. Bass's office said it had filed a Freedom of Information Act request for records pertaining to how federal agents are supposed to identify themselves. Debates over who is allowed to obscure their identity with a mask in public, be they law enforcement personnel or civilians, have become politically contentious across the country. In New York, Republican leaders in one Long Island county barred people from wearing face coverings in public to conceal their identities, but recently announced that police officers working with ICE agents would be exempted from the rule. Democratic lawmakers elsewhere in New York and in California have floated legislation that would do the opposite, barring law enforcement agents from covering their faces while on the job.